חזרנו.
Sivan Rahav-Meir is an Israeli correspondent, writer, and TV journalist. She was voted by Globe's newspaper as the most popular female media personality in Israel, and by the Jerusalem Post as one of the 50 most influential Jews in the world. Sivan does more than just share stories. She connects her viewers and readers with a broad vision of what it means to be a Jew in today's world.
אבל באופן כללי, אומרים כאן הפרשנים, זו קריאה ליחס יותר רציני למה שיוצא לנו מהפה.
The project she is most proud of is her weekly Torah message that is broadcast widely via social media and WhatsApp and translated into 17 languages. Married to fellow journalist Yedidia Meir and mother of 5, Sivan resides in the holy city of Jerusalem. Please join us as we extend a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Sivan Rahav-Meir.
Shalom. My boss on Israeli TV asked me today, what am I doing in New York? I told him, usually you want me to give you headlines, so here is my headline. Tonight, I will be in the most influential room in the world. Look around you. It's true. I'm honored, really, to speak in front of thousands of shluchot and community leaders representing millions of Jewish women from all over the world. What a hakel. Thank you. Hanging in our home studio in Yerushalayim is a gift I gave my husband Yedidia, also a journalist, for his birthday 10 years ago. It's a plaque with quotes of the Rebbe about the positive and transformative power of the media. One main message is, all mass communication was created to broadcast Torah values. It's not a birthday gift, it's a gift for life, a gift we both got from the Rebbe. I grew up secular, I became observant, Baruch Hashem, but when I discovered the worldview of Chabad, of the Rebbe, the conflict, in a way, disappeared. I realized there were not two separate worlds in which I was a journalist in the studio and a religious woman at home. I discovered that my work, and basically every work, contains elements of shlichut. I could and should express my personal Jewish values on the air as well. I began to bring this new attitude into the studio as part of this new approach to share what is illuminating, what is uplifting. I also started covering you, the Chabad shluchot. I would like to tell you tonight about the best Chabad stories I discovered when I gave lectures and covered Chabad houses all over the world. We'll begin in Thailand. I came with my family to Koh Samui to cover the largest Pesach Seder in the world, where more than 2,500 Jews celebrate together. I met the humble woman behind the world's biggest Seder, Shlucha Sarah Goldschmidt. Sarah, maybe you forgot this story. I didn't. Sarah had 2,500 people for the Seder, and she was laid back and calm. I get nervous just having my sister-in-law over for Shabbos. I wanted to interview Sarah once the holiday was over because Israeli TV wanted a report. So I tried to call her. She wasn't available. I nudged her. I called her again. And then I discovered she had been taking a woman to the mikveh. In Chabad, you can go from the world's largest Seder to the world's most private chesed. Sarah, do you remember? After I published this story, a woman sent me a message. If there is such a dedication to the mikveh in Thailand, she wrote, how hard is it for me to go to the mikveh in my own neighborhood? Now we go from Thailand to Ukraine. We admire you, the shluchot to Ukraine, and we daven for you. Thank you. Here is a tiny story. On Erev Shabbat, when the war began, I received a message that became viral afterwards. Chani Segal is a shlucha in Kharkov, Ukraine. They are currently on their way to the border. Remember Chani? This Shabbat, it said, her mitzvah will be to travel on Shabbat. It is called Pikuach Nefesh. Since Chani will not be able to light Shabbat candles, she asked women to light Shabbat candles in her name for her family. Candle lighting time here in Yerushalayim is at 4:59 Shabbat Shalom. That was the message all over the world. Chani, it is impossible to count how many Shabbat candles were lit that Shabbat for the first time. One woman asked the shlicha in her city on the next Shabbat whether it was still necessary to light candles or whether Chani was all right now. Let's continue. When Leah Haddad of Brussels became Leah Duchman this year, she became the shlucha in the United Arab Emirates. Mazal tov, Leah. I received a video of rabbis and sheikhs dancing at a wedding to the music of Avram Fried. I thought they were in costume to gladden the new couple, but that wasn't the case. It was real, from Abram Accords to Avram Fried. So I shared the video. I shared the video that reached millions of people and wrote about the first Jewish wedding to be held in Dubai. Mazal tov, Leah and Levi. Now China. The next story is about two young shluchot, 7 and 9 years old. As a mother of 5, I find this story extremely exciting. Last year, in the virtual convention, the presenter of the girls' בכנס complimented the girls who lived far away that were coping with difficulties and complex circumstances. Chani and Musia Henig were at home, turned to their father and said, Abba, they're saying that there are girls who are having a hard time. They're living with great dedication in tough conditions. Kol hakavod, well done to them. They are real tzadikot. Rabbi Dovi Hanig was stunned. His daughters are living in Chengdu, China, with no other Jewish children their age, and now they were also living under China's severe COVID-19 restrictions. They had not even left since the pandemic began. And yet, when they heard about girls who were having a tough time, they never imagined that the speaker was talking about them. They had no idea that they were being complimented. They are living with a sense of shlichut, a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose, a sense of joy. Their parents always gave them a sense of privilege. When I shared this story, I got countless comments. My daughters are bored in Tel Aviv, or in London, or in New York, and the girls in Chengdu don't complain? That's something to think about. Dear sisters, we've been to Thailand, Ukraine, Dubai, and China, but the true address is 770 Eastern Parkway. These stories are actually not about you, but about that small room and that huge heart. That's where it all began. The word shlicha, a mystery, means that someone is doing the sending. Mishehu sholeach. Someone sent you, the Rebbe. Now for the last story. Is it a story at all? I really don't know. A few weeks ago, I interviewed Shlucha Chani Moskowitz in Yerushalayim. Remember Chani? She told me they held a big Seder in Ukraine 7 years ago, before the war. A woman came with her husband and knocked at the door. Chani opened it, and the woman gave her a package and said, "I've brought you a special gift." Chani looked inside and saw a package of wafer biscuits. They were entirely kosher, but entirely chametz. According to halakha, chametz must be put aside and then burnt on Chol HaMoed, and that's what Chani did. She told me this story on the stage during the interview, and I said, "Nu?" And she said, "What do you mean, nu?" And I said, "And?" I'm sure you're all listening, waiting for the end, and you're saying to yourselves, "Oh, the way these stories go is that you'll probably ask the woman who brought the biscuits to stand up. She'll be wearing a shadel. Now she's the new shluchot to Siberia, right?" Whatever happened to this woman, I asked Chani in this interview. And Chani answered, "I don't know. The war broke out. The world changed. I don't know whether she had Seder night this year or where she is. I hope she is alive." As for me, I got the most important punchline, that not all Chabad stories have a punchline. In fact, most stories don't have a visible triumphant ending. In most cases, you give without seeing any immediate result. You give because you believe in the infinite power of every mitzvah, of every Jew. So let's acknowledge tonight, let's acknowledge together all the things that the world may define as failures. Tonight, I would like to give a shout out to the ones who invested in a family that sent their kids to Hebrew school, and the children stopped coming after bar or bar mitzvah. They disappeared. Let's give you a hand for that. I would like to talk about those who host backpackers wholeheartedly. And let's face it, sometimes you feel that they only come for your delicious food. You never see them again. Yishar koach for that. Thank you. I want us to acknowledge the shluchot who set up for 50 women, and after publishing and organizing everything, only 7 women came. Let's give you a hand. Let's give you a hand. And let's give those 7 women a hand. Kol hakavod. I want to mention a group of shluchot who won the lottery, so to speak. They are never considered heroes. They live in Israel. Nobody thinks it's hard for them. It's the Holy Land. Well, sometimes it's more challenging. It's more complex. Thank you, sisters, shluchot of Eretz Israel. אני עוזבת את נימוסי הטקס ואת האנגלית ואת הנאום. תודה, אחיות מארץ ישראל. אין עליכן, תמשיכו. So I was asked to speak about my amazing encounters with shluchot, but I'm here to say that the most important stories are the ones that I have never written about, the stories that no one covered, the stories that are never made into nice videos for this convention. They are never reported in Chabad internet sites, one of the 2,000 Chabad internet sites you have. In heaven, they are recorded, they are written about. In heaven, they make headlines. I truly believe this is a powerful educational message for all of us, especially for our children in the age of social media. We do what is right because it's right, because this is shlichut. You are there Even if you're not rescued from Ukraine on Shabbat, you live in Miami or Australia, and your neighbor has not wanted to light Shabbat candles for 5 years. You are there. You are there at weddings where Avram Fried doesn't perform, and no sheikhs dance in the middle of the night for the bride and groom. You are there. You are there even when your own daughters do complain, and they are having a hard time, and they have no friends, and they are so bored. Thank you, girls, the next generation. You are there. These are the read headlines. Hama'aseh hu ha'ikar. The deed is the most important thing, said the Rebbe again and again. Not the deed's publication, or its rewards, or its punchline. The deed is the important thing. Only you know how many millions of such deeds with no punchlines are in this room tonight. These deeds are what will bring us, Be'ezrat Hashem, to the true, ultimate punchline, the real final redemption, הגאולה האמיתית והשלמה. תודה.